everyone, it's Laurel here, and I'm here today with a video for the Lawnscaping Challenge. The challenge for this week is to try something new, to try a new technique. And my mojo has been down in the toilet lately. I've been doing so much lately, and my husband's been out of town, and my little daughter is so very different from my son. She is everywhere and into everything. So she keeps me on my toes. But anyway, so I created this card for the challenge, and I wasn't too happy with it. It was just seemed so plain. But my fellow designers on the design team, when I uploaded it to our little group page, they were saying how nice it was, and they were all asked for a video. So that made me feel a lot better about the card. So I'm going to do it today in just a different color palette. And the technique that I used is actually dry embossing with dyes, which is this part right here, and then shadow stamping, which is what I did, or ghost stamping, I guess is another term for it, which is what I did with the bench here. So let me go ahead and get started. Now to dry emboss with the die, I'm going to be using the Stitched Journaling Card die by Lawn Fawn. You can see it has this great stitched outline here. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and put it in towards the center of my card. And I'm going to adhere it down with some masking tape so it doesn't shift when I run it through my die cutting machine. So you're going to do the same thing that you do with regular dies so far. And I use a Vagabond, so I can't actually run it through the die cutting machine on camera, but I can show you my little sandwich that I use. So you're going to use your base plate or whatever your die cutting machine is. You're basically going to treat this like an embossing folder. But instead you need like a tan mat. I have these two tan mats by Cuddle, but I don't know where they're from actually. But I know Spellbinders makes one. So you're going to want to use these tan mats, because this will prevent them from actually die cutting through the paper and create the embossed image. If you don't have that, you probably can use a lot of cardstock, maybe stack up some cardstock and try it that way, and just play around. But for my sandwich, for my Vagabond, I have this Sizzix magnetic platform, which I absolutely love, and I use this as the base for my Vagabond for almost everything, in lieu of the one it actually came with, if that makes any sense. So you're going to use your base for whatever die cutting machine you use. Then I put down my clear plate. Then I'm going to put down both of my embossing mats here, these little tan embossing mats. And then I'm going to put my die just like that, making sure that they're nesting onto the embossing mat. And then I'm going to run them through my die cutting machine. All right, so off camera, I just ran it through my Vagabond machine. And when you peel up, be careful when you peel so you don't rip your card base. You get the dry embossed image, and it doesn't cut through. Those tan mats is what's preventing it from cutting through. So that's that. Super easy. So you're just going to treat your die like an embossing folder. I do think having those tan mats will definitely help with your embossing. But like I said, you can kind of, figure it out, play around, use cardstocks or something to kind of create another kind of shim, but these masks really did it. And there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. You can play it around, but this is what works for me. So again, I use my magnetic platform, my plate, my embossing mats, and then I put my paper with my die face down, and I didn't put anything over the top. That's what works for me. Now, with different die cutting machines, is different things, so you kind of have to play around, but that's what works for me in the Vagabond. So now it's time to go ahead and assemble the card and just do the little bit of stamping there inside the embossed image, and then we'll be good to go. This is a great one-layer card. Pretty easy to mass produce, and obviously it's one layer, so there's no bulk, so easy to pass through in the mail in a regular envelope. Now this is some Simon Says Stamp Audrey Blue cardstock and ink. I absolutely love their inks, and I'm in love with their cardstock. Their inks are dye inks, formulated very similar to the Hero Art Shadow inks. So when you stamp them, they're kind of splotchy, but they dry smooth, so it's pretty neat. And then also the cardstock is a very good heavyweight cardstock. I love the colors, sturdy enough for your card base. Good for scoring, and obviously the dry embossing technique it works really great with. So if you're shopping around for some colored cardstock, I recommend that you give the Simon Says Stamp cardstocks a chance. They do sell little rainbow packs if you want to try out different colors. So that's something to think about. Now I'm using my Martha Stewart fitted press. I love it. It's like a big, huge acrylic block with foamed feet. When I use the regular acrylic blocks, I get ink on my cardstock all the time. So these little feet protect me from myself. And I'm also able to line up where I want to stamp before I actually press down. Now again, because these are dye inks, it's going to stamp kind of splotchy there, but it will dry smooth. Now I did do something different on this card that I'm going to catch in a minute, and I'm going to correct myself. I kept it on the video so I can show you how easy it is to correct. The other card I actually stamped the white first and then the color. On this card I accidentally did the color first and then the white, so it didn't give the effect that I was looking for, but I'm going to show you how I fix that in just a second. Now this is the Color Box Frost White ink. I love it. It's a great ink. It's very juicy and it's great for stamping on colors. You can also heat emboss with it as well. Now, so I'm doing the offset here to create that little shadow or ghost-like image. And as you can see, because I stamped the white over the blue, that's when I realized, oops, I did it backwards. Now this is not a bad look, but it's not the look exactly that I was going for. So I'm going to fix it. And this is the beauty of clear stamps, is you can go in and restamp over your image for, in my instance, I'm correcting a mistake, but you can also do double stamping as well to get a darker image. And what I mean by that is you can stamp once and then go over the image again with the same color stamp and you're going to get a darker tone. So that's like double stamping. But here I'm just correcting a mistake. And I guess it's double stamping. So I'm doing two techniques. I'm doing a bunch of techniques in this try a new technique video for the landscaping challenge, whether on purpose or not. So anyway, I've gone ahead and fixed my mistake there. So I've got the ghost-like image. Now I'm taking the greeting set, or the greeting stamp from that stamp set, inking it up in the same Audrey blue here and stamping it underneath the bench just like I did in the other video here. And I can't tell you how much that footed press thing saves me from myself. Fiskars also makes one as well. The acrylic block here on the Martha Stewart footed press is a little bit more sturdy than the Fiskars stamping press, but the stamping press is a little bit bigger, so it's great for backgrounds. So I use both. Now to create the background of the clouds there, I'm using this Make a Scene stencil. It actually comes with masks too. It's a little set from Simon Says Stamp. You can buy them separately. I got the whole set there. And I'm going to be using that cloud stencil here and the same white ink. And I'm using one of these little Sukanecker finger dauber thingamabobs here. They are reusable. You just wash them off. And I'm digging in my trash right now, which is what I'm doing here, because I'm too cheap to use masking paper. So I've dug into my garbage. And you'll see why in just a second. So I'm not pressing into that pad too much because that's a very juicy pad. So I'm just gradually going in over the cloud image and creating the little cloud background, keeping it all inside the embossed frame here. Now here's where my garbage comes into play. Could use masking paper. Would have been easier for sure, but I'm using garbage. And I'm just going to mask off that edge there because I don't want anything overlapping into the stitched edge there that we created, the embossed edge. So I'll be doing this to create all the clouds in the background here until I'm satisfied with how it looks. And then we're pretty much almost done with the card here. Now I added on one final thing to the greetings. I'm finishing off my cloud here. And it's very hard to capture on video, but the greeting sentiment on the other card actually shines. And I'm going to do the same thing here with this greetings image. I'm trying to show you that it shines there. It's just so hard to capture on camera. But I'm using the Wink of Stella Glitter Pen 12 pack. Now these are fine tip pens as opposed to the brush that you see everybody using, including myself. I guess you could try to do it with the brush tip, but I don't see how you could intricately trace these letters with the brush tip. So that's why I love these things. They come in a variety of colors. So I'm using the clear here because I didn't have a color that matched the color there on the Audrey blue. So I'm just going over it with the clear. And it's a very subtle look, and I just think it adds a little bit to the card. Not something I can really capture on camera for you, but I just think it's cute and adds just that little extra something special there. And then to finish off the card, I'm going to take my corner rounder here, and I'm just going to corner around the bottom two corners of the card. Thought it tied in nicely with the journaling die embossed image of the corner of the rounded corners there. And that's it. We're done. Thanks so much for watching, and all the supplies are listed below on the YouTube description or over on my blog if you're interested. Thanks for watching.